So the Chicago Bears continue to help out their secondary. 2 picks in that secondary now. Hey, you're going to hear me say this a little bit today. Never let a day 2 go by where you don't draft a wide receiver or safety. Bears, good work. You got the safety. You did your job. Now you can draft whoever else you want. So a little surprised they still haven't gone after someone who can help out Justin Fields, but they're getting someone who's going to help their football team. I really like Brisker a lot as a player. We're going to get into the film. I had him higher rated than Kyle Hamilton, so you're going to see how big of a fan I am of him. And when you watch the film, I think if you don't know anything about him, you're going to say, oh, wow, yeah, he's really good. So let's get into the film study, and then we'll talk about the scheme fit and all that fun stuff in a second. So let's start off with a play like this. This is a great example of kind of what I look for in safeties in general, and why I'm a big fan of Brisker is because he can do this stuff successfully, where what's going to happen on this play is it's going to be quarters coverage. So there's 2 safeties deep. He is the safety who's covering, the zone that's in white. I've circled him, that's where he's covering. So with the concept, this is a concept usually better at beating, different types of coverages, specifically like cover 2. This can be very good at. Quarters coverage, not so much, but it can still work. So, if you see 2 receivers running deep routes on one half of the field, well, how should Penn State play this? I mean, it's kind of obvious, right? They should have, one of the guys who is staying deep cover one of them and the other guy cover the other guy. You have 2 guys back, 2 guys are running deep. The math is pretty simple there. However, right when this play begins, what you do notice is that, so for Brisker, he's doing his job. He's covering the guy he should be covering. A cornerback didn't really stay deep as well as he should have, I think, which can allow for this to have a little bit of separation. If the quarterback makes a good throw, this is going to be a completion, and I want to be clear, this is through no fault of Brisker's own. Brisker has done his assignment on this play. However, watch how Brisker still has the ability to come back and be able to make the play. So, he wanted an interception out of that, but it was still a good defensive play by him to still have the awareness of realizing where the ball is. And that's, quite frankly, what being a safety is. It's having the awareness of knowing where the ball is. It's reading the play properly and constantly being in the right position. That's really the main thing I look for when evaluating safeties. Are you in the right position consistently? And Brisker is. Now, there's other stuff as well, like something like this, where, how well does he do making tackles? Because that's another aspect you're going to, need a safety to do. And quite frankly, he is certainly able to do this. The way this play works is, it's going to be just a quick screen pass. So you have 47 who's going to run out to block Brisker on this play. And watch how well Brisker runs in and makes this tackle. I mean, look, as you see, he does break in incredibly well and is able to go over, make a quick tackle for a loss. Just a great play. He read it well, was able to come in, and he was able to make the quick tackle. And that's what he can do consistently, which is what I like about him. Going over to something like this, a big part of what I look for in safety play, oftentimes most people wouldn't even notice. And listen, on broadcast footage, you can't even see the safeties. So who knows? It's possible to evaluate safeties without all 22, which, not everyone has access to. I have to work really hard to find my all 22 footage. However, on this play, these are the kind of smaller things that people who watch, not to be one of those, oh, this is why you have to watch the film, guys, but this is kind of why you have to watch the film, just to see are people in position consistently, and Brisker is. So again, same concept, quarters coverage, you see the zone he's supposed to cover, there's a route that's going to get underneath his zone. So this is a play that can work. Right when this play begins, look at how well Brisker realizes this and reads this play. So the quarterback, who is looking in that direction, sees all this and says, I can't make this throw. I have to figure something else out. This is not something that's going to work for me. Now, as you see, the quarterback ends up being able to scramble out and pick up a decent amount of yards, but you forced the quarterback to do something different than what he was wanting to do with that play because of your good read. And if you didn't do that, then the quarterback would have made the throw and probably gotten a completion. So that's, again, just what Brisker brings to the table. He's someone who just constantly puts himself in position to where the quarterback doesn't throw the ball on his side of the field, which that's your job when you're in coverage as a safety. Like, something like this is another great example of, I think one of the most difficult things to do as a safety is read stuff that's happening on the other side of the field if you're in a 2 safety deep coverage. So, for example, this is, again, quarters coverage. You see where he is on the field, same spot as he has been on the previous plays. Typically, the way that you are making these reads is you're focused on your side of the field. Who are the eligible receivers on, your side of the field, and that's typically how you focus on this stuff, which is why sometimes it's a really good concept to have someone on the other side of the field basically just cross sides of the field, it can fool players. However, right when this play begins, what you notice is that as a player is crossing the field, Brisker still notices it and kind of just steps in front of that passing lane. So again, if you want to make this throw, it would be an interception. So you cannot make this throw. And that's just what I like about Brisker. It's just a constant, consistent being in the right position at all times. These are small things that don't show up on the box score, and fans might not even totally notice, but I promise you, opposing quarterbacks do notice this stuff, and it can drive them crazy. So that's just why I'm such a big fan of Brisker, and why I think he's good. I think it should work for Eberflus as well. He's obviously their new head coach. I'm assuming he's going to do similar to what you saw the Colts do, which is a lot of zone coverage, good amount of cover 2, and some cover 3 sprinkled in, which means you do need a deep safety. Maybe that's Eddie Jackson's role. Maybe it isn't. I don't know. But with cover 2, you can have Brisker be that safety who can, really thrive, I think, in cover 2. He can come up and make plays, but he also is a good coverage guy who has a decent he's a good center fielder. I think he can be a free safety and strong safety. In fact, he might be the purest just safety in this draft class, as in guy who can do it all, guy who can be a strong and be a free, because I think Hamilton's the better strong, and I think that Scene is the better free, but I think that, I think Brisker's kind of a good combination of both, and someone who I am very high on. So I think the only criticism you could have of this pick would be, should you have gone wide receiver here? Especially with George Pickens still on the board, who is someone who's falling, I think, largely due to character concerns. Do you go out and get someone to help Justin Fields? Because Fields has no help. And, I thought they were going to use some of these draft picks on someone who could help out Justin Fields, and that's where things get weird. You see the New York Jets, they go out and, really make a conscious effort to make sure that they can help, their young quarterback, Zach Wilson. They have more draft capital. It's not totally fair. It's not apples to, it's not apples to apples. It's apples to oranges. But even like a Breece Hall pick was something that, is it best for the team? No, but it could help develop Zach Wilson. Potentially, whereas for Fields, it's like, okay, but they have a solid running back. I like Khalil Herbert a good amount. What else do we do here? No, the offensive line's not great. Wide receiver isn't great, but it wasn't going to be great no matter who you drafted here anyway. So might as well get the best player available. So if you think that way, it actually makes some sense. So that's what I think of this move. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. What are your thoughts on Jaquan Brisker, the newest member of the Chicago Bears? Always love hearing from you, and of course, as always, thanks for watching.